Hi, I'm Katie Sky, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to Not Pinecone. This is actually HHP. We're doing an HHP build today for a very special reason. Did you know that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month? So, while I build Frobert's Dream Jungle Paradise, I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about mental health, specifically my mental health and how I protect it. Because your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Your mental health directly affects your daily life, how you feel, and it can even affect your physical health, which is why it's so important to take care of it. And if you need help, to seek help, just like I did when I was struggling after my dad's death. I went and I got help, and there's nothing wrong with that. And mental health, you have to constantly be working on. It's not something that, you take an antidepressant and automatically your mental health is 100% better. That's not how it works. It's constantly working towards making your mental health the best that it can be. And to do that, you have to experiment with what you're doing in your life. And you really just have to find what works for your mental health. And, I'm not going to lie, it's a long process. It took me years, like at least 5 years, to find what really works for me and my mental health. And I only just recently got to a really good place with it. So it takes time, but it's worth it because you'll feel so much better and have so much more mental clarity. So the things that really work for me personally is I have to go outside every single day, get in the fresh air or fresh-ish air. I really do not live in a place that has the best air quality, but, getting outside, taking my dog for a walk every single morning, and that's like as soon as I get up. We are getting ready to go on a walk because I want to get my body out into the sunlight and, the air that may or may not be fresh, and really just be outside in nature. I've always been a really big outside person. Like when I was a kid, I did all these different sports. So every weekend we were outside doing something. When I got older, I was doing hiking. We were doing like little tiny, almost rock wall, not really rock wall, but like there was a canyon not too far from where I grew up that had like big rocks that you could climb over. That's kind of what we did. So it's like a hike with rocks, kind of. I did that for a long time. Then we moved, and where we moved to didn't really have a lot of outdoor stuff to do. And it's so hot here in the summer because it's a desert. So it can be really hard to find things to do that you don't melt completely in the summertime. But I've found going really early in the morning and being a really early riser helps me a lot as well, both with my mental health and avoiding as much of the heat as I can possibly do, because where I live, we are fully in summer now. Like we're in the 90s on a regular basis now, and this week we have our first triple digits of the season, and it will only get worse from here, which is not the best place to live if you have a little bit of heat intolerance going on, which I unfortunately do. So it makes a whole other obstacle that I have to get through, but I know that it's so important for me to get outside because right now, as I've been doing this, and I'm going to be honest, I have not been doing this for very long, maybe 2 months at this point, but I have not felt this good in my brain, in my body, in probably, honestly, I don't even know how long. Many, many, many years though, for sure. And the only thing that I've really changed is the fact that I'm going outside every day with my dog, Bella Bean. As soon as we wake up, we get ready, we go outside, we do our walk. Right now we're doing 2 miles, but I think we're going to increase that to 3 miles like pretty soon, I think. And, you know, that's something that I'm finding that I really enjoy, is kind of challenging myself in our walks. You know, how fast can we do it? How far can we go? How many times is my chihuahua going to bark and or growl at another person or dog on our route? You know, you never know what you're going to see on a walk. But that's what really helps me. And it took a long time for me to find that's what was like the sweet spot for me. So, you know, it's important that, you know, you try multiple things and you keep trying. Because when it comes to mental health, you're not going to get it right on the first try. You're not even going to get it right on the second, the third, maybe not even the fourth. The point is that you keep trying, you ask for help when you need it, and you don't give up, and you don't kind of just shove your mental health to the side and be like, oh, well, I tried that one time and it didn't work, so I'm just going to do nothing with it now, because it's so important. So to represent my kind of like love for the outdoors and how much being outdoors helps, I did a jungle build for you guys today. It might be a future theme that you'll be seeing sooner rather than later. But I really enjoyed this build, this theme, jungle core with a dash of tropical. It was a lot of fun, and of course, we did Frobert because, I mean, who else is going to be the best fit for a freaking rainforest, if not? And you guys will have to let me know if you like this type of build and how it's been edited. Let me know, because I did cut out most of me standing and staring into space when I'm trying to think through things. And I cut out as much of the item selection that I could, because it takes me forever to decide on my items, and I didn't think you would want to see me continuously scrolling through items as I try to figure out what I want. So let me know what you think, and also while you're down there in the comment section, let me know what you do to kind of prioritize your mental health. Like, do you go outside like I do? Do you do something different? Do you craft? I do that sometimes when, you know, things get kind of too intense in my head. I'll do some cross stitching, or I'll do a diamond painting, you know, something that keeps my hands busy, but my brain can kind of check out. Or sometimes if I want to keep my mind, you know, distracted, I'll pick a more I don't want to say intense craft, but a more involved craft that I really have to kind of think through. So like doing little book nook kits, I find I really have to think things through for. So, you know, it's just finding what works for you. You know, being outside, crafting, reading is really big for me. That's what works for me. Reading and writing, as you know, are very important in my life because I am an author. So I'm always reading. I'm always kind of going through ideas of stories in my head. But, you know, that's not going to be what everybody else likes. Some people don't like reading. Do I understand the hatred of reading? Not at all. But that's fine, because that has nothing to do with me. That's all. That's, you know, everybody's different. And while I may find reading super relaxing and like the most fun in the world because I can escape into different worlds, the next person might not. They might find it really taxing, and that's fine. I'm not going to yuck your yum as long as you don't yuck my yum, because that's the great thing about people, is we are all so different, and there is no one that is like you, which is why you need to take care of your mental health, because nobody else is you, and this world needs you. So just remember that. And, you know, we have this amazing Animal Crossing community, and, you know, we can lean on each other if we need to. There's no shame in asking for help, leaning on your friends. No shame in it at all. Everybody needs help once in a while. Another important aspect of my mental health and my mental health journey that I've kind of gone through is, I need to be able to go and be in nature and nothing else at least a few times a year. So me and my mom were both really big on camping, and so every summer and fall, mostly summer, but sometimes fall, we will go and just find a place to camp for a few days, a week, whatever we can manage, and just be in nature, be in the trees. We obviously take my dog, and we disconnect from everything. And sometimes that's what you really need, especially because we are so connected now compared to what we were 5, 10, 20 years ago. So sometimes you really need to disconnect, and sometimes you need to determine if social media is making your mental health worse, because it can, 100% make it so much worse. And there's no shame in taking a step back for your mental health, taking a break from social media because it doesn't make you feel great. That's fine. And I do that from time to time. I will delete my social medias. I will, not go on social media for days, weeks even. It's fine. We don't have to be so connected all of the time if it's not going to be good for our mental health. The point I'm trying to make is that you need to find what works for you, and if that's something that not a lot of people do, like not having social media accounts because it doesn't make you feel good, that's fine. You don't have to have social media just because that's the norm that we have in our society, right? If it's not adding to your life, you don't need it in your life. It's about experiencing life and loving your life that you're experiencing. And if doing that without social media is what you need to do, do that. It does not matter what anybody else thinks, as long as you are as healthy as you can possibly be and happy. Mental health directly affects how happy you are in your life. And don't you want to be happy? I know I want to be happy. And, to do that, you have to take the steps. And it's finding what steps are going to be best for you. And it's a daunting task, I know, but it is so important. And you can 100% still be a part of all the amazing communities that do exist within the social media spaces, like here on YouTube, Instagram, wherever. But you can also take a step back when you need to, when you're not feeling your best mentally, take a step away and then come back to it. If that step away ends up being permanent because it's what's best for you, then it ends up being permanent, and there's nothing wrong with that. And now maybe I should talk about the build a little bit, because I don't think I've really done that much. So Frobert basically is like some sort of researcher, and he heard about this place that had perhaps a new type of species that he wants to study. I don't know, something brought him here to his little rainforest, and he's here to research, which is why there's so many books and papers kind of strewn all about, and he wants to get to the bottom of it, and he won't stop until he figures it out. He's deep in the rainforest, no people around, no one to talk to, so maybe he starts to talk to this new species. He's trying to find out what they need to thrive, or I don't know. He's trying to work something out, though, with all of the plants around him and the water and the trees and the outdoors, his little bulletin board so that he can work, and his little map so maybe he can try to figure out where else the species might thrive or where there might be more. I don't know. I guess we'll have to ask him when we see him next or something. And you know what? Honestly, this game is a big part of my mental health as well because it just gives me so much joy. I love it so much. And, I've been playing Animal Crossing for a long time. I started with Wild World way back in the day when I was very young and did not know that you could restart, by the way. I didn't even know that there were other Animal Crossing games until 2020 when this game came out and kind of blew up. And then I was like, oh, there's more? And when I was finally able to get a Switch, which wasn't until 2021 or 2022, I was obsessed with the game from the beginning. It was so much fun. And here I am years and years later still playing it. And we're going to add the little jungle soundscape and make the room green because leaves are green. And I normally forget to do the little shining, but I remembered this time and I started with just making it sparkle, and then I remembered that you can actually change it. So I went and I used the butterflies in a lot of places because they're so cute. And I also did the little thought bubble for the books because I thought that was so funny. Like the books are kind of speaking their mind. And I want to thank the amazing JoJo Crosses for giving me this item to incorporate into my build because it honestly worked perfectly. And I even put the little Keroppi boots out as well because I just thought they were so perfect to go along with the little Keroppi snack. And I did give the Keroppi snack a little, like the little lightning bolts, so he looks kind of magical because I think this is what Frobert is studying in this forest. And we are done with our rainforest exploration for Frobert. I hope you guys enjoyed today's build. And a big thank you to JoJo Crosses for the adorable Keroppi snack. So thank you, JoJo Crosses, for that. I will have her and all of the other amazing creators linked below, so make sure you check them out. I also want to thank April Honey, Sammy's Quackers, and Kaylee Games for putting this collab together. And I hope that it reminds you to take care of yourself always. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!